What's up, Royals? I'm Kai. Hope you're doing well. You guys know that I got a ultrasound recently. Not on me, but I got a ultrasound system to check the follicle growth of the female breeders in my collection. And I had stated that I would show you how I go about using it as long as I don't fumble around. So I think I figured out a way to show you how I go about using my ultrasound. Keep in mind, I'm a newbie at this, so I will be telling you about the mistakes, what I've learned, so that hopefully it'll help you guys when you use the ultrasound for your very first time. But before we go into that, I have another clutch of eggs on the ground, and I'm always excited to see another clutch of eggs. In fact, this has been the third week in a row where we've received a clutch of eggs. This one, however, was not sired by the sunset male. Instead, it was sired by the pied het Axanthic that I produced myself, and the female that laid this clutch of eggs is a spider Axanthic or Axanthic spider. And I know there's some controversy around breeding spiders. Quick pause for our sponsor. This video is sponsored by Mark at 403 Fauna. Mark is an educator teaching high school chemistry and biology. If you're wondering where the brand's name originated, it's his classroom number. And as far as the logo, it's of his pig-nosed turtle. He has an Instagram page and a YouTube channel where he features some of the critters in his classroom, and of course his journey into keeping and breeding ball pythons. Being that he has a degree in biology, he really takes a scientific approach in the way he cares for and works with his animals, and that's reflected in his brand. He currently has 40 ball pythons and focuses on desert ghost clown, while also working with other recessive morphs such as genetic stripe and VPI Axanthic. You can see many of his animals on his social media. Those links will be down in the description below. As I mentioned, he also keeps other species, and he's an aquarist like me, so he has salt water running through his veins. Did I mention this man has a sense of humor? I really enjoy getting to know Mark, and I think you will too, so go give him a follow on YouTube and Instagram and support his business. I want to give Mark a big thanks for sponsoring this video, and if you want to help support this channel and bring some awareness to your brand, email me at lucasnaneroyals@gmail.com or hit me up on Instagram Messenger and find out how you can be the sponsor of the next video. Now back to the show. This is the first season breeding for this female, and she did a great job by giving us a healthy clutch of eggs. And of course, I'll give you guys an update in about 55 to 60 days when the eggs hatch. Now let's talk about the ultrasound. Keep in mind that I did my first ultrasounding in my collection about a month ago. And so it's about time that I do another round of ultrasounding just to make sure that the females are growing, or at least get an update as to where they are in their follicular development. Now, I made a few mistakes the first time around. The ultrasound, obviously by its name, you know that it's painting a picture based on the sound that it's using to go into the animal and then reflect back. And of course, there's also the monitor itself that's refreshing the picture. And I think somewhere along the lines, when we're looking at the monitor, it produces some faint bars, some very equally spaced out bars at some angles. And the mistake that I made was that when I was ultrasounding and there might have been something that was horizontal, maybe an organ, maybe their spine, but when that horizontal object is on the screen, along with those bars, evenly spaced out bars, it kind of makes that horizontal object look like a string of circles, which I believe I mistaken for follicles. So that's one mistake I made. And I know because this time around, some of those females that I had marked down as 6 millimeters, 7 millimeters, I no longer see the follicles there. So either they have reabsorbed, which is, you know, it's possible, but I don't think it's likely to have so many females reabsorb. It's probably more likely that I may just have misread the ultrasound the first time around. The other mistake that I made was whenever I saw a circle, something like a very dark circle, I assumed that I found a follicle. Sometimes an organ might look like a circle. So if you're just seeing one circle that is fairly dark, fairly big, but nothing to the left or right of it that looks similar, it's probably an organ and not a follicle. So don't count that. I did count those and I wrote them down as like 11, 12, 13 millimeter follicle. But this time around, I'm seeing follicles that are smaller and it's a string of follicles. So I know that this time around, those are the actual follicles and not just some single circle that I mistaken as a follicle. I know there's a lot to take in and you're probably going to make some mistakes along the way yourself. What I thought I would do in this video is find a female where we could see a textbook example of follicles so that we know exactly what they should look like, and hopefully we can kind of burn that image into our mind so that next time when we look at follicles, or maybe for you guys who are using the ultrasound for the very first time, can refer back to that image, that memory, and kind of do a comparison and see if what you're looking at when you do your ultrasound looks similar to what this image that I'm going to show you in just a few minutes. So let me get things set up and we're going to take a look at one of the females. So I've already gone ahead and attached the probe to the back of the machine here, and there's actually a little switch on the side. Let me go ahead and turn that on, and then while this is booting up, I can go ahead and apply the gel to the probe. Now I find that if you kind of put the nozzle close to the probe and then kind of force a little bit of bead on there rather than putting it on like toothpaste where you just smear it on top, you kind of have to push it in a little bit and then run it. That way it gets a nice adherence. It adheres to the edge of the probe. Otherwise it kind of just falls off when you try to go and ultrasound your snake. So now that it's on, we can go ahead and pick a snake to ultrasound. So let's take a look at this girl. This is a fire spinner hypo, and she has produced a clutch for me before. In fact, 2 consecutive seasons in a row. I ultrasounded her on the 25th of March and she was about 16 millimeters. That's the size of her follicles. So we're going to go ahead and ultrasound her now, and I'm expecting around a 10 millimeter increase in follicle size from this female. So the way I do it is I first try to approximate her midsection. So her tail's here, her head is over here, her midsection is probably right around this bend. So now that I've identified the midsection, I'm just going to start a little bit past her midsection towards her tail and then try to look for the follicles just using the probe like so. So I'm going to go ahead and just, usually I would probably do it this side, but it's kind of hard to see for you guys because my hand is in the way. So I'm going to just go ahead and do it over here so you guys can see. So I just go ahead and touch the probe to the body, and then we can take a look at the screen. So you can see all of these follicles, they're coming in pretty clear. And as we run down her body, you can just see more and more of them. What you want to do now is just find one that is the most clear and wiggle around the probe until you get to the biggest diameter of that specific follicle. And then I'll hit the freeze button. So now we can take some time and measure out this follicle. So for me, and with my system here, I'm going to go to General, get that menu, select Distance, and now I'm going to use the cursor to place it right at the edge of what I think the follicle is, or the edge of the follicle. Hit that button, I get a little mark there, and then I'm going to go to the opposite side of the follicle, hit another mark there, and you can see that she is measuring at 25.5 millimeters this time around. So there you have it. I hope it's helpful to you guys and can be used as a point of reference. One more quick tip that I want to give you is if the female is moving about while you're trying to ultrasound her, in my opinion and in my little experience, I just give up. It's extremely difficult to watch a monitor on one side and use a probe on the female and follow her body as she's moving around looking for follicles. I mean, it's difficult enough for me when the female is perfectly still. It's almost impossible to do it when she's moving about. So I just let the female go back in her tub, move on to the next female, and then circle back to that female. And hopefully she's not moving the second time around. And if she is, just wait longer. Maybe wait till the next day and try it again. That about wraps it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new to this channel and you want to be informed of future uploads, make sure you're subscribed and ring that notification bell. As always, thanks for watching. Please share and remember, Royals for life. Peace out.